Hey guys, Fishmonger here. I had a very successful live stream last night that went on for 4.5 hours. Wow, I can't believe it was that long. It was that long. It was like 4.5 hours. I totally did not want to be streaming and working on a rig for 4.5 hours, but what are you gonna do? I ran into some hiccups. Actually, I keep looking over. I ran into some hiccups, and I fixed most of the hiccups. Actually, I'll show you in a second some of the other problems I just came across today, because I just finished up the rig, and I kind of got it progressed, beyond last night. I got it up, and it's actually mining right now and running, and it's looking pretty decent. So to give you an idea of what it started out looking like, it was just whole bunch of these pieces of wood at 20 inches and a couple more at 12, and I ended up cutting some more at 9.5, and yada yada yada. And it assembled into something that looked like this. Well, actually, it assembled into this, because this is exactly what it looked like. So I'm gonna see if I can move me out of the way a little bit. Just okay. So you got my face, but that's about it. So this is not a magical floating rig. This is just a rig that I suspended with some tiny wires there from a tree right outside my place, so I can spray paint it, because a gentleman on the live stream last night suggested I spray paint it. I forgot his name, but it was a great idea because I had spray paint laying around. So I hooked it up, and it looks a little funky right now. You can see there's some like white areas on this picture, and the spray paint doesn't look very good. And I'm admittedly not the best spray painter in the world, but it actually looks better now in person. It's just that it was the process of drying, and this is like the first coat. I did a couple other coats. It looks a lot darker and a lot nicer now. So I screwed up, though. I don't know if you can see this. Hold on, how do I zoom in? Yeah. Okay, so on this front piece here, do you see this thing that goes across? This is the one bar that holds some of the GPUs. Notice how it's like mounted towards the back part of this wood, right? See that? Okay, and then look at this one here. That's kind of also towards the back part. It should have been mounted here. So I screwed up and I mounted this onto the wrong side. So I had to redo that, which I did, and it certainly looks a little bit better now. But there's some areas where there's bare wood exposed because I moved it after I spray painted it and stuff, and whatever. I'll take care of that later. But the rig itself looks good. It looks really nice. Let me show you another picture here. So this is some of the video cards I got installed into it right now from the top view. So this is looking down at the rig, and this is just the rig with the video cards mounted without any other electronics in it. So it's 13 GPUs. They're mainly 1060s, although right now, because I'm still waiting on 2 cards, I have 2 1070s in here. So this one's a 1070 and that's a 1070. But you can see, again, the way I set it up is that all the cards are mounted to a common piece of wood. Can I move me? Where am I? All right. All the cards are mounted to a common piece of wood that runs across the length, the width of the part, or the width of the rig, from left to right. So you can see that. It's kind of neat because it allows me to kind of keep things consolidated. Everything's technically on one row if you want to look at it like that, but it's just spread out instead of everything being in one big direction going left to right. So you can see from this picture here, yet another picture that just kind of shows all the cards kind of set up. And you can see one of the power supplies I got down here, and the board that I've got in the middle where I mounted my server PSUs, and then basically the bottom here that holds the motherboard and the ETX PSU. This is just, when I first, I wanted to measure out, basically I got my calipers out and I measured the amount of distance that I've got in between all the cards. So they're all precisely aligned, and, they look proper, they look really good, because, I'm not going to just jam the things in there in some kind of crazy ass direction. So here I've got the motherboard bottom left hand corner. It's plugged in and installed and running good. And then the server, the ATX PSU, which basically just provides power to the motherboard, and really it's got the headers on it for like my fans and stuff, is mounted in the bottom right. So that's in this bottom this section here. Right above that is the server power supplies. So you can see here's the one server power supply mounted facing to the right. Then the other one behind it is mounted facing to the left. And I did that just so I can kind of better space out the connectors and the cables to go to all the cards. It's a complete rat's nest right now. I'm not going to lie. Look, I'd love to just be able to make custom, and I can, but I'd love to be able to find the time, be able to make custom cables to go from every single plug on the board directly to every single card, so it's no longer than it needs to be, and I don't have that rat's nest of cables. Because like this whole going up and then over and then up again is just like totally not required. And a lot of times I did the wiring like that just to get rid of the slack, because I had a lot of slack on a lot of these cables. In the future, when I find the time, I'd love to be able to make really cool looking custom cables for this, so it doesn't look like a complete rat's nest. But as of right now, I just wanted to get it up and running, because making 13 custom cables is going to be quite some time. So priorities first. I can make the cables while this is at least up and running, so I can take my measurements and stuff, but I just wanted to get this up. So here's another picture that just kind of shows it from a different angle. And you can see it's, I don't have the top on right now with the fans, because I'm going to mount something here to the top that basically holds a lot of the cooling fans, because again, I have about 40 cooling fans. So I'm going to put like a row of cooling fans here and a row of cooling fans here. I can easily put 8 across that and have it spaced out, look really good. So they all draw the air up across from all the cards and have it look really nice. And then this is just another view from the top of the rig down. You can see here where the wood originally was here to here, and then I unscrewed it and then I moved it over here because I melted it on the wrong side. So I have a spot there it needs to get spray painted, and a spot there it needs to get spray painted. So I figure I'm going to touch them up after I make the top piece there with the fans. So I'll get to that at some point. This is basically a view from the side, so you can see the power supplies. They are, screwed in, so you can see some of the screws here on the breakout boards actually screwed to this piece of wood, and then you can see some of the screws I have. I just screwed through the handles here directly into the wood here also, so they're not going to go anywhere. Technically, I could take this whole rig. Well, you know what? I didn't screw in the motherboard or the ATX power supply in the bottom right now. So if they were screwed in, I could take this whole thing and lift it up and move it all around, and no hardware would go anywhere. So, that's just on my to-do list, but it's not like a major to-do because I don't plan on moving this thing around a lot. Here's another kind of grainy picture, but you can kind of see the angle and all the components here. And this is me in front of a horse. I took a picture of myself in front of a horse when I was at a horse farm one day. So, I'm randomly going through the photo gallery. This is what pops up. I forgot this horse's name, but this horse was chilling, man. He was just hanging out with me, and I was feeding him hay. You can see he was eating hay. He was just hanging out. We had a moment, me and this horse. So that's the photo of me and a horse. So as of right now, Nicehash actually has me at a profitability forecast of $27.38 a day. Not too shabby for running 11 GTX 1060s, 3 1070s, and then 2 1070 Ti's. My bad. 3 1070 Ti's and then 2 1070s. Now, it's a little fucked up because it looks great here, but then over here you can see it's closer to $22. In fact, if I refresh this, I can guarantee this number is going to go down. I'm not making $27 a day. I'm making probably closer to like 19 to 23. So let's see where it puts me at now. 18, so that's less than my 19, but when we look at the average, it's about $19 to $23 a day. And if I look at my 7-day interactive history, you can see here, this is kind of what I was averaging for the most part. The purple is mining Ethereum, and the blue is mining equihash. And then you can see where I had to take my rigs down for a couple times the last couple days, and now I'm back up again. And I got to do some fine tuning and stuff because I moved some things around. But I'm still pretty close to like where I was before, which was I was averaging about 0.0022 Bitcoin per day. So it wasn't too bad. This is the rigs themselves, and you can see the timeline here where I had to take the rigs down and take them offline. I did some work and I got them back up now. So according to this, I am pulling 402 watts, which is amazingly low because it's actually not accurate. 402 watts is just for this one rig here. This rig here is about 1100 watts, so altogether it's about 1500 watts. But I'm pulling, I'm doing 1500 megahash on equihash. I'm sorry, 1.51 kilosouls on equihash, and about 308 mega hash right now. These are the 1060s with a couple of 1070s kind of thrown in there. And I'm basically waiting for some new 1060s to come in, because my goal was to make this a 13 card 1060 rig. So once I get the new 1060s in, I'm going to put them in the rig, and then I'll be able to, hold on a second. Once I get the new 1060s in there, I'll be able to take a look at my fans for the cooling on the top. And then one of the things I also discussed is the side panels. I'm basically getting them set up and basically having it so I can kind of somewhat enclose the sides to better direct the airflow, so the air will basically get drawn in from the bottom, go over all the hot hardware, and then basically exhale, it will because it's breathing, out the top, and then basically kind of cool everything out. I actually just got a comment on one of my videos. Somebody commented about using plexiglass. That's a great idea, because that would keep everything kind of easy to see, because plexiglass is clear, obviously. So I'll take a look at that. I'm kind of cheap, so I might just kind of go with like saran wrap in the beginning, just to kind of, you know, get that clear effect, but not have to spend a lot of money. Now, in the beginning, I do plan on using like a ton of cardboard, so I'm just going to throw some cardboard up on there just to kind of check it, to make sure that the temperatures don't go crazy. Because if they do, then I'll leave it open. But I'd like to kind of keep it, you know, somewhat enclosed. And the plexiglass is actually kind of cool. If I can get plexiglass in there, you know, I'll throw some LEDs in there and all that shit, and just kind of make it look good. Throw some disco lights in there and whatnot, and we'll be rolling. So this is Fishmonger's. Be video number 2 on the new mining rig. I'll have a third at some point once I get some more hardware in and I kind of get it set up. But I'm pretty pleased and pretty happy with how it came out. It was about 4 hours to basically get everything all cut up and assembled for this. And as far as I'm concerned, it was 4 hours well spent. So, as a reminder, I do have my old... hold on, you can't hear me. I've got my old wooden rigs here. These are basically the rigs that were in some of my old videos. And I've got them available for sale because I ain't going to need them. I have 3 of these. I'd happily sell off 2 and then just keep 1 as a spare. So if anybody's interested in one of these, let me know. I'll just disassemble it. Basically send it over to you. You know, I'll ask like 15 or 20 bucks for it because of the wood and the amount of time it take me to make them. And then basically the cost of shipping, obviously, because depending on where you live, shipping can be expensive or it can be cheap. But, you know, I don't need them, so I might as well just have them go to a good home. So hit me up, email wildfishmonger@yahoo.com, or send me a comment down below, and I'll get back to you, and I can hook you up. And I do have one of these server power supplies left over that I don't think I'm going to need. So I had it as a spare for like a while. It's like literally sitting doing nothing. It's actually over here on my bed, so you can see I've got one of these kind of set up. It's the standard 1200 watt HP power supply. This is the HSTNS-PL11. It's 1200 watts at 220 volts. If you run it at 120 volts, though, it's 900 watts, but it's still pretty dang powerful at 900 watts. And plus, it comes with a breakout board with a whole bunch of cool little 6-pin pieces there, and it's got the little manual power button and the connector for the floppy disk thing, so you can power that on and off remotely. So this is Fishmonger. I am signing out. I will catch you on the flip side.